likes it.
Hello everyone, it's been a while, but we're back here. The garage is a little bit different. There's been a little bit of changes, some things here. So I've reorganized my garage some, kind of made a little bit of room, got a smaller toolbox just for the house. One of the things I wanted to show you guys that I'm going to be working on though is getting rid of all the rat's nest and junk on the dash of this Excursion here. And finally about time putting some pillar gauges in. Follow along as I learn how to do this. And I don't know what else I'm gonna do with this truck, this Excursion. It's got almost 360,000 miles on it there, but it still runs great. Maybe some injectors in the future or something. I gotta pull the plug to see if I have PMRs or forged rods, but on the 2001s apparently it's hit or miss. But without further ado, let's get all the old stuff out of there and put this new pillar gauge in. Now, I've heard mixed reviews about this set of gauges. I don't know for sure how they're really going to do. I've gotten used to what the temperatures look like with the gauges I have in there now, so I'm going to see how these compare. I've heard people say they have great luck with them, and I've heard people say that they're terrible right out of the box. Look at that, Destination AT. That's what this truck had on it originally as well. Gonna be interesting to see how this works out. It was a really good price, and I thought, oh, what the heck, you know, make a little video here and let's just see how they do. I think a lot of issues are due to people not wiring gauges up correctly, but sometimes there are also internal faults too. First things first, let's take all the old crap out. I remember when I put this stuff in years ago and I thought it was just the coolest thing, but over time it starts to become a mess. Foam pieces that hold this on don't hold very well, and even the little Snow Performance methanol injection thing here has started to come apart, and it's just starting to look junky. We don't even use a meth injection anymore on this thing. So it's going to look a lot nicer to have all these gauges down the pillar here and not have to worry about all this junk in the way. It'll look a lot better. I think be a lot more functional too. I have to get a few tools here to get this stuff out of the way. Some of this I can kind of do by hand. I'm looking at the way I did some of this stuff and it's just face palming. Like look at this. Look how I ran the the wire to power the backlight on the boost gauge is literally just pushed into the terminal right here on the connector, which was then plugged into the headlight connector assembly. So there's the wire right there. The things you do when you don't really know much of what you're doing. And then you look over here in this corner, I ran all these grounds to this bolt right here, and then just ran the volt down on the wires. But it worked. All the stuff is still working. That's the crazy thing. As hodgepodge as this is, everything is still working. It's something else. I'm gonna pull the lens off of pull the cluster out here while I'm at it and clean that off, make that nice and pretty. Well, now I'm definitely gonna have a boost leak. The little plastic line running up to the boost gauge here broke while I was taking this off. As you can see, it's really brittle from the sunlight and everything. It's just splitting into pieces there. I love how I didn't think to put a boost gauge only on here. I put a boost and vacuum. The turbo does not put any vacuum on the diesel engine ever. It's only boost. Diesels do not have vacuum. That's just the way they are. At least these old ones. Okay, we're making some progress. This is taking longer than I expected, but then again, I did have to take all the old stuff out. Took the methanol injection out, like I was saying, that isn't used anymore. There's some of the pieces down there for that. I just have to plug the little holes there on the intercooler pipe so we don't get any boost leaks there. I like the way this is set up here. To get boost, I ran off of the map sensor. So that boost line just comes right off the map sensor there. And then you'll see the black and the red line there. I actually ran the boost line inside this red plastic tube here, this pipe. It's a little bitty pipe here. That way it just protects the boost line so it doesn't rub against anything or cause any boost leaks there. The fuel pressure sensor is down there. That was another really easy install. You just take out a plug on the fuel filter bowl there and thread the sensor in and then run the wire to it. And that's that little black wire that you see there running back towards the firewall. We've got our, let's see, I lost track. Fuel pressure, boost, transmission to, oh, exhaust gas temperature. That was also really easy, seeing as I already had a gauge in there. All I had to do was run the wire through the firewall after I took all the old stuff out.
A little bit difficult to see, but you can see the temperature probe up there. There it is. It was a really easy install overall.
The tricky part now is in here. This is just a rat's nest at the moment. It's, you know, it's okay. It's you can tell these are, you know, these are cheaper. This isn't the nicest, most expensive gauges you can get. But like I said, for what I paid for these things, it was worth it. And I'm just going to try them out and see how they do. The instructions have been pretty good for the most part, but there's been some missing stuff. So you want to make sure that you're paying close attention to things and that you're mechanically inclined to know how to do this. I know they have videos as well on their YouTube channel, but for example, the little brackets won't fit on some of these gauges here because of how close they tuck up against there. But it's a pretty snug fitting here in this little pillar, so it's not really that big of a deal. They also don't explain to you how to hook up the transmission temperature gauge, so I'm just running one wire to the probe down there and then one wire up to the gauge here. As you can see, the transmission temperature gauge has one green wire, the others do not. I believe the red is a switched 12 volt power, yellow is the constant 12 volt for keep alive memory to remember your gauge colors, I guess. Black is ground, and then the orange is the dim. So you plug that into your headlamp connector there. Whenever you turn your headlights on, it dims the gauges, which is nice. Don't have those things glaring in your eyes. But that's where we're at right now. A little bit of a mess. I also went through the instrument cluster here, took it apart, and I'm going to clean it. But in addition to that, I also had a few burnt out bulbs on the back of it for cluster illumination, so I took all those bulbs out and put new ones in them. It's pretty sweet because they're nothing special. They are literally just a peanut bulb or a 194 bulb here. As you can see how they're kind of burnt looking. See, there's an old burnt one. Here's a new one. Here's how they should look. Something like this as well. If you compare them to the old ones there, you can see how the old ones all look burnt. So I just went through and replaced them all. Anyways, I'm going to keep going here and I'll give you guys another update after I've made more progress. Okay, here we go. It is the next day. I fell behind with making videos because just time got away from me and had to get caught up with a few other things. But anyway, everything is all done, finally. And you know what? Not too bad. I'm pretty happy with it. For what I paid for these gauges, not too bad. Not gonna complain one bit. I know everybody's got their own way of arranging these gauges, but let me show you how I set them up here. So I put the fuel pressure at the bottom. It's kind of interesting to see. I haven't looked at that data before. The transmission temperature right here, the exhaust temperature right here, and then the boost up top. Look at that. It's just beautiful. Stock injectors, original injectors, original high pressure oil pump, all that good stuff, original turbo, and It likes it. Sounds so healthy. Likes it a lot. I can't wait for people to start calling me out in the comments. Oh, you're in the red line. It's a 7.3. It can handle it. Don't worry. All the instrument cluster lights are working now. That looks awesome. I love it. The gauges work great. Perfect. This truck is ready to rock and roll. Everything works great. I'm really, really happy with it. They dim a little bit when you turn the headlights on, as you can see. Not as much as I would like, but it is what it is. More on what that thing is later. So there you have it, guys. Hope you enjoyed that little clip there. It wasn't really step by step as I was learning how to do this, but thought I'd show you. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up as always, and I'll see you in the next video with maybe more on this truck. Who knows? Take care.